I actually got into this with my 13-year-old daughter. And so the 13-year-old little boy that was back here earlier during faceting, I love. I haven't gotten Sarah into faceting yet, but she loves wearing the stuff that I fasten. The one down here at the bottom left was Sarah at one of these ruby mines out here. I think it was at the Sheffield mine, which we've done a couple of times. And then we headed out west. And you know, the first time we did it, I was trying to think of a way to get my little girl, as she turned into a teenager, to spend time with her dad. And it worked, and we've had some amazing adventures together. We try to get out about once a year. Now she's almost 22 and just got engaged. So I hope I'm not losing my rock buddy. I'm going to steal her away from her husband every now and then. But go ahead to the next one. We've gotten out a couple of times into the San Diego area. You can get about an hour outside of San Diego to the Paula district, where a lot of the beautiful tourmaline comes from. There are 3 digs that operate out there. There's Gems of Paula, which is in the photo. There's Ocean View, and then there's a Himalaya. The same owner as the Spectrum Sunstone Mine. All these folks have websites. I've been to all of them. They're about, you know, if you go out there expecting to strike it rich, turn around and go home. You know, if you go out there for fun, maybe you'll find something. That's why I've gone. It's not a ton of money. Gems of Paula, they bring material in there. You go through it, small 1-gallon buckets. I found some nice pink fastenable material there. Probably the best stuff of any of the mines that I found has been from Gems of Paula, and it's the cheapest. The reservation only. Ocean View is a whole day, digging out of a big pile, just sorting through things. They've got a mine there on premises. They do a mine tour. If you've never been into that, it's an interesting day. It's about $5. Really nice people. Himalaya, I've been to that once. It was a rainy day. They bring a pile down supposedly from the mine. I don't know where the stuff really comes from. It might come right out of the mine. But it's supposedly mine tailings, so you can't get up there, but it's a campground. And they also sell premium bags. There was a few nice things in it. So again, you go all these places, you go for the experience as much as what you find. So next slide. This was a fun one. This was before I got into faceting, but it's an interesting website just to poke around. This guy's been on a couple of the Cash and Treasures and Treasure Hunter shows. He's exactly what he says he is. This guy's a geologist that started taking Boy Scouts and Brownie troops and people on geological adventures and hunting things. He's one of the nicest guys. His name's Bob Jackson. This was the Spruce Ridge Mine, which one of the television shows just did it, and they brought the girl in by helicopter and dropped her off, and she rappelled down. It's that bad. You don't have to go in by helicopter, but when most folks go up, it's a 1/4 mile climb at about an 80% incline. So you're climbing with ropes, and you got to carry your tools up, and you got to carry your rocks down. So it's not an easy one. It's one of the only places, at least that we've found, that you can actually go dig museum quality quartz crystals that have pyrite crystals growing with them. So there's some beautiful things. And this pocket opened up the day we were there. There were 7 of us, and they just did a random draw. And the lady that got this pocket filled everything she could carry out in about an hour. Yep.
How big is that?
That pocket's about that big. You know, and the crystals in it, you know, range from about that long, mixed with pyrite and little bitty things. But it was gorgeous. But nice guy, and he does everything from 1-day digs to he's got a fluorite place, and he'll take you on 7-day outings and hit a bunch of places. But if you want an adventure, one of those kind of things, he's exactly what he claims to be. All right, next up. Montana Mountain Sapphires. If you look around the way, there's a lot of places you can go. You can go down to Phillipsburg, which I've never done. I know there's several places there. I don't know much about them. So if you go to that area, ask, try to find people to tell you. There's enough out on the internet now. You can get blogs on, what's good, what's real, what's seeded, what's not seeded. Unfortunately, more of the stuff is seeded today, which I don't mind as long as people are straight up with you. I'd rather them tell me, yeah, it's seeded. Okay, great. I know what I'm in for. elkdiamond.com, another great group of folks. They do fishing trips, hunting trips, and these sapphire trips. But Sarah and I did a 4-day horseback 11 miles up into the Sapphire Mountains. They fed us like kings. I mean, you'd go dig in the stream and come back and they'd have steaks, like the best steaks I've ever had, cooked for you for lunch. But nice folks, We stayed in these big teepees, and it got cold, but it was an amazing trip because you're literally shoveling gravel out of the bank of the river and screening it. And we came home with 30 or 40 sapphires. This was before I was cutting, but we had several of them cut, and Sarah's wearing them. So this is a couple of pictures of us out of that mine, and we'd go dig the material about 6 feet that direction, come down the stream and sit down and screen it and go over. There was a guy that pulled out about a 6-carat, really pretty blue sapphire while we were there. So next up, just a couple of screen. This is some of the material that we came home with. This is a screen after it's been done. So you can see there's one there and one there. So that screen had 2 of them in it. We could go through an hour and not find any, and then you turn over a screen and have 2 or 3. So probably one of those fun trips. Last time we were up in Oregon, or last year we were up in Oregon, we made our way back by the opal mines out there. We hit Rainbow Ridge. There's about 3 different mines operating. They range in fees from about $50, and you can walk around the tailings. I didn't run into many people that found much in the tailings, although they say people do. You can buy a scoop of the dirt. It's about $500 or $600 now. It's gone up. And you know, you're hoping to find a black opalized limb in there, and one guy found one when we were there. It was a $2,000 or $3,000 specimen. It was gorgeous. Most of this stuff, from what I see, has to stay in water. There's a piece up here if you want to come look at it. You know, depending on the light, it's got some good fire in it, but you know, it's a specimen. We did run into some people. A little lady in kind of Lakeview, where you have to kind of go through to get to the Sunstone mines. She has a rock shop behind her house. She's about 80-year-old little lady who's been running it, and she had some beautiful opal from up here that had been cured just fine, and it cut and polished, and it was incredible. But I get the idea if we're talking to them, that's pretty hard to come by. Next up, we're kind of into the fire opal and sunstone. This mine is real interesting. We went to it the first time this year. I tried to get in for a couple of years. Just couldn't make it work out. It's reservation only. He only opens the mine about 10 days a year. And he only takes 6 people a day to go into the mine. Your reservation fee includes a 1-gallon bucket of fire oil. And if you want more, and you can find as much as you want, pretty much, he'll sell it to you. It's facet and carving quality. It ranges from yellow to red. And it stabilizes over periods of months. And I'm really dealing with my first experience with what we found. Oh, there's a big piece of it right here. Yeah. So this one's obviously been stabilized. You can see it's clear. They come in various degrees. And my daughter and I spent 3.5 hours. We happened to be the only ones at the mine that day because people no-showed. They paid their money and then they didn't show up. We had the mine ourselves. It's fairly small. It's not much bigger than that wall to that wall and then about another 12 feet that direction. It's about 12 feet deep now. So you walk down into it, and we rented light jackhammers from the guy. In 3.5 hours, we had more than double what we could carry home. And we've wrapped it in damp paper towels and put it in baggies, and it's sitting there drying out, which we'll let it do till it's dry. I did go around. He said, go out and hit the tailing pile. He said, you're the first people up here this season, and just pick up whatever you want. So I spent about 10 minutes and picked up about a half-gallon bag of fire opal. These 2 pieces, I cut this one last week and this one the week before, just so I'd have some samples out of that stuff. It was cut on Marshall's lap. It was polished. This one was polished on the cerium side. This one was polished on the other side of the diamond.